So we'll try this one again. Apparently, internet connection issues. So hopefully this goes off better. We'll give it a shot. So, hello, design peeps. We're going to give this one a shot. Hopefully the internet connection works out. So today should be pretty interesting. We're going to have some eDesign companies calling in today. And our topic is eDesign, crap, that can of worms. So either you love eDesign, you've had a really good experience with it, call in, or you hate eDesign. You know, I've found that there's kind of two ends of the spectrums on this topic. So, hi, Nancy. So this is a live call-in show. You can hit the little video icon at the bottom, and you can join in on the call. Make sure to hit share and let other people know that we're here. This is an open and ongoing conversation with the design community about the design industry. So, hey, Ian. So call in. A few warnings. This is there's no FCC on Facebook. So let the F-bombs drop if that's how you're feeling. If the kids are in the car, earmuffs, kids. And let's get the calls coming in. We should have here in a minute some of the eDesign companies calling in, which will be awesome. So Sheila from Design Files will be calling in, and so that's going to be amazing. You guys are going to be able to hear from her. She's going to be jumping on live. She'll wait. She'll answer calls. So let's get the communication going. This is a live event, so go ahead and hit the little video icon, and you can call in. So this is your participation is wanted and is needed. Kind of why we're doing this. As an industry, we've gone from, well, for the past 18 years, I've been part of this whole design industry. And only in the last couple of years are we starting to call this a community. So if we're a community, then a community talks, and a community has a voice, and a community, we express ourselves, and we're unique and we're different. And I feel that the industry should be listening to the community and sharing should be representing what we're saying. But we need to have a voice in order to do that. So Dezign Talk is a live call-in talk show where you're able to we're able to have a voice. So don't let it just be me this morning. Let's start the calls coming in. The topic is eDesign, crap, that can of worms. So start calling in. Sheila is going to be waiting in the sidelines, waiting for us to get the conversation going. So, and she's happy to jump in there and start talking about eDesign. So feel free to hit the little camera button on your mobile phone and join in on the phone call. So, let's get the calls going. A few things. Hit the share button. Let's let the community know that we're here. Let's let the industry know that we're here. So, and let's get some thoughts going on eDesign. We've got a lot of people joining on. Anybody have comments, and anybody want to join in on the phone call? Hey, Edmund, how's it going, man? If you want, join in. I don't know if you've got experience with eDesign. Whether you love it, you hate it, you're somewhere in between. Allison, if you want to join in. Let's get the conversation going. Today we're going to hopefully filter through some calls and get some opinions going on eDesign. Sheila should be calling in here shortly to talk about eDesign from her side of it. Design Files, which is, I didn't know anything about Design Files, and Sheila will be the person to be able to talk about it more. But Design Files seems like we've got Allison calling in, Alyssa calling in. Hold on. Let me add her in. So, adding Alyssa in, hit the share button. You guys can join the call, hit the little video icon at the bottom, and we can split screen and share in on the phone call. Um, it's not about my opinion. This is about you guys. Hey, lady, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So yeah, we've got Sheila calling in a little bit. I did talk with Decorist and Havenly. I will say that they sounded receptive, but they're not here yet. So, form your own
Uh-huh,
opinion.
sure. I will say just quickly, not like camera ready this morning. Wanted to just hop in and say that I think eDesign is really exciting because there's no rules. And especially for those of us who are building online businesses, right? My whole business is based around being location independent. I want to work at home and watch my kids and be able to like do other stuff. That eDesign lets you have that online, hi Stacy, that online entrepreneurial business design, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So that, like I said, there's no rules. I do consulting, so that looks like I have a background in education, so it's kind of like me teaching my clients what to do, so they don't need me every step of the way. Um, I do personal shopping. So you tell me what your budget is and what you want it to look like, and I go find it all for you, and then you order it. I also can do like mock ups. I can consult on bathroom installs, but I'm not going to do the contractor. I'm not going to do to scale renderings because that's not worth my
What
time. It takes me too long.
are you using a program for your e-design, or have you created your own form of e-design, or how's that
Yeah,
working
so
for you?
right now, sure, I use Google Slides as a way to keep my people on board, and it's private. And I can make sure that they don't download anything until they pay their final invoice.
Okay.
But I know there's a lot of platforms, right, that help you do it depending on what your business looks like. Um,
So I'd say that that's kind of so you're doing it kind of on your own. You've kind of made your own. I'll tell you
yeah,
that I'll play devil's advocate until we get more callers in. If
yeah,
you guys have experience using Decorist, Havenly, Laurel and Wolf,
there's a lot.
design
I know.
files, call in. Uh, the the um, the devil's advocate on this is the feedback that I've heard. I've heard design celebrities say, hey, they were approached by eDesign, they've been a part of eDesign, and then eDesign used them as a loss leader. I've heard other interior designers say, hey, you know what? They're trying to get the cheapest deal out of it, and I need to make more than minimum wage.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard other designers say, "Hey, I love eDesign. It gets me work when I'm slow on work," and so um, I've heard both sides of it. Both sides are very passionate about it. Sounds like you're doing your own form of eDesign.
Yeah, so I had started building my business kind of in that consulting capacity before even looking into like Havenly or Decorist, or even knowing about platforms like Ivy or Mydoma or right. So I had kind of started out on my own to
What
create a business and
you
then
you did
dove
your
into all
you
that
did
later.
your own you did your own version, but you did do research into the others. What about the others made you ended up doing your own? So why did you end up doing your own?
One, I have formal education in other things.
You got control
So
issues. It had to be
they
your own.
yeah, they won't take me because I have the wrong letters after my name, right?
Yeah,
And I don't
yeah,
have the money to go back to school for a third degree. Um,
yeah,
Other things, the reason I'm not on a formal platform right now is kind of the deal with my husband is I can start my own business and host my website, but I have a certain amount of money I can invest into it a year until I'm making profit. Right? So I think when you're first
yeah,
starting out, being able to make your own rules and set up your own platform is a really powerful thing that we can do using the internet.
yeah. I've got Sheila, and I think she's on the wrong channel. I think she's on my business page. She's eDesign CEO, so
Cool.
she should be calling in
I'm really
here.
looking forward to hearing about just how the industry is growing. And I will say it's very cool to see the platforms like Mydoma growing and changing with our input. Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
we've got a lot of emerging technologies, and I'm all for them, whether we end up lasting or not. They all add to we're trying, and
Yeah.
that's the best thing right now.
Yeah.
You know,
You can
so.
build a business online doing anything, right? So do it.
Well, and we're kind of in that new phase. We're trying to figure it out as an industry. What works for us? Podcasts are fairly new. I was talking with this girl Megan, who I'll tease a little bit. I'm looking to do a documentary for Vegas market. So I was talking to her about it, and she's a design student. And at design schools, there she didn't know that there were podcasts for our industry. So I know
Yeah,
there's companies like SoundCloud, and a lot of our interior design friends are posting podcasts on SoundCloud. But
totally.
SoundCloud is for everything, and so trying to find the stuff that matters to us isn't so easy.
Yeah.
So
I think communities here on Facebook have been the biggest like pusher, at least for me. They've been the most encouraging and introducing, you know, small business owners like myself to people
yeah,
like you, right? Like it's pretty powerful stuff.
yeah. You know what? We've got Sheila calling in, and
Cool.
she is a CEO of a eDesign platform. So I'm really excited about jumping around. Do you mind? I'm going to cut
Awesome.
over to Sheila real quick.
Go ahead. See you.
And then if you get questions coming from it, let me know. Okay, we're going to add Sheila in. And Sheila is the CEO of Design Files. For you guys, please feel free to call in. This is a live call-in show. So please call in. That's what it's not about me talking. Oh God, you shouldn't be listening to me talk all day. This is about you guys. This is a platform for you guys to talk. Hey Sheila.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. I'm so wow. I've got a face now to the voice. Me and Sheila were talking as I was flying out to Dallas. So,
That's right.
so excited to learn more about what you've got going on. I think your platform sounds entirely different than what I've heard from Laurel and Wolf, Decorist, and I'm glad for all emerging technologies, but some I'm more glad for than the others. You know. So
Right, yeah.
let's hear about Design Files.
Right, you're right. We are trying to offer up something that's a little bit different to designers. And the main idea behind Design Files is to really give professional designers and decorators their own e-design platform that they can brand to their business, and they can invite their clients in and discuss the looks. And basically the idea behind it is that designers can set their own rates, they can set their own terms, and 100% of what they earn is theirs. We don't take a cut.
So I dug that. First of all, the feedback that I hear from a bunch of designers is, these e-design companies, they're trying to distribute the work, and they're selling it at a price, and the designers are saying, hey, I don't work for minimum wage. If I wanted
Right.
that, I would have taken any other job.
Right.
Sounds to me like what your platform does is a monthly membership so that the designers can essentially white label and
Yeah, that's
create their own
basically it.
e-design platform.
That's basically it. But you're not integrating the Design Files platform into your own website. Basically, what happens is you get an account on Design Files, and then you can put in all of your company branding, your logo, your contact information, and all of that. What happens is when you do that, we remove all of the Design Files branding from the platform and replace it with your branding. So it's 100% branded to your business. And when you invite your clients in to discuss the looks and review some of the products, they only ever see the designer's branded platform. If they don't see Design Files, it's like Design Files doesn't exist to the client. So you
Is
don't
it
have that
still your
confusion.
URL though, or is it my URL now, or is it Is
It's
it
going to be design files slash the
designfiles.co?
designer. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be like
Hey,
that. Although
that's
I'm glad
pretty
you brought
damn
that
good.
up. I'm actually glad
Yeah.
you brought that up because we have been talking to designers who obviously would prefer to have the URL more branded to them. So we're looking at switching it around. So it'll be the designer's company name slash design files. And the good thing about design files is that it's kind of like it's almost like a generic name, really. So you can tag it on to the end of an interior designer's business name, and it's their design files, basically.
So I've thought about this one, and at first I was like, it's designfiles.co. And I
Yes.
was like, man, how's anybody going to find this? Okay, the flip side is, as a white label, it's kind of okay that it's not a .com. For
That's
me,
right.
as I've thought about it more and more, I'm like, I want to go market my design, eDesign, so that it's a little bit harder for a consumer to find. I thought was okay in the long run, but
And
at
that's
first I
actually
was like,
yeah, that's the idea behind it. The consumer doesn't come to Design File's homepage. They log in through the designer's branded registration page. So they're coming to the platform, the consumer's coming to the platform via links that we're providing to designers within their account. So it's all sourced through the designer. So again, it's
so
another
let
way
me
for us to hide design files from the consumer and just have it as a branded platform for the designer.
Let me do a quick plug for, hey, so everybody listen, we've got 34 people on right now. Um, if that sounded interesting to you and if that caused questions, I know that you guys are used to the branding that's been behind Decorist, Laurel and Wolf, and Havenly. Havenly's been all over the news and all kinds of stuff, and so these are starting to become household names. But on the designer side of it, these are the same companies that they're complaining that, hey, I'm not working for minimum wage here. So we've got Sheila on the line, and she will answer questions. And I think that this is a different type of program. I'd love to have Decorist on if you guys are listening. Havenly, I know you guys said that you would have a marketing person on. Call in. For the people listening, call in, join the call. We've got one call waiting. She joined on right before you jumped on. Let's see
Okay.
what she thinks of it. So if you don't mind, exit and then call back in right away, and then that way I can plug you right back in. Okay?
Okay, just one quick question. This is the first time I've done this. How am I exiting? Is it just on my name on the
I
top corner?
I think I can now. So let me try to exit you out, and then just call right back in. Okay?
All right, perfect.
All right. So we've got Tori calling in. I hope she's still there. I know you were on hold for a little bit. Tori, go ahead and I've sent you the invite to join in. Um, for those listening, we are talking about eDesign, crap, that kind of worms. Call in. Either you're passionate about it because you love it or you hate it. We just listened to Sheila talk about design files. Um, I'd never heard of this until last week. So I think this is a very interesting format, a very interesting platform. So call in if you've got feedback. You want to talk about Decorist and these other companies. So we've got, I think we had Tori for a second and then she disappeared. Um, so call in. We just listened to Sheila. We're talking about eDesign. This is Design Talk. This is for the community, for the design community. Let's, as a community, this is a spot to voice your opinion, your feedback, your frustrations, uh, your victories. Let's praise, cheers and jeers here, people. But this is a platform for you. Please don't let me do all the talking. Please call in. We're talking about eDesign. We're talking about whether you love it, you hate it. Let's call in. So, Jax, I see that you said Sheila's design files seems fair. Yeah, let's talk about it. Feel free to call in on your mobile phone. You can hit the little icon to join in. So join in the call. Tori, it looks like you were on. We've got Rod. Rod, let's get you on, but let's get Rod on here. Okay, so we're having Rod join in. Let's get other people to call in. People, please call in. Let's get conversation going. I'd like to cycle through some of the calls so that everybody gets a chance to talk. Give You don't have to have your makeup on. Nobody cares. You don't have to call from the bathroom. I won't care. We'll kind of look away. No, we won't. There's no FCC on Facebook. So call in. Let's hear your opinions. Ron, it looks like it's still trying to connect. How's my phone doing? It's not too bad this time. So feel free to call in. We also have Mackenzie calling in right now too. Let me see if I can get Mackenzie in here. Sorry about that, Rod. I don't know why it wasn't connecting very quickly. Let's add Mackenzie in. Mackenzie, I did a live with her. I joined in. I'm a party crasher, so she was doing a live, and I just called in. Dixie and Rachel will tell you how much of a party crasher I am. So we've got Mackenzie calling in. She's a business coach. Hey, Mackenzie.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Good, good. So if you wouldn't mind I kind of teased you up as a business coach, but could you do a quick little tease on you and then give us your opinion on, we just heard Sheila, and then give me your opinion on eDesign.
Yeah, business coach, marketer for interior designers. I think design files, I think it's a great idea. I think that all designers are going to have a different approach to their own business. And so with design files, it sounds like you let someone else host it for you, so you can do it that way, or you can go the other route where you build your own platform. But then you're responsible for your own marketing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just learning about it, so
I think I think that eDesign in general is a brilliant idea, because for the market of interior design, it's bringing so many more consumers into the pool for interior design, where maybe they felt like they couldn't afford it, or maybe they felt like it was inaccessible. Now it's something that's a lot more accessible with eDesigners.
Yeah, and I'm watching at the bottom of my screen on my desktop, people are hitting share. So just a reminder, hit share. Let's get the conversation out in front of more people. Mackenzie is a business coach. We were talking about it, and she's a kind of emphasis on eDesign and passive income streams.
Mm-hmm.
More ways to make money. Exactly. Who doesn't want that?
Millionaires have at least 7 income streams, so you want to get as going as you can.
Yeah, general people tell you to focus on one thing. Fuck that. Make money. Go make money.
Too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know in design, a lot of people, we've got our side hustle. Shit, I got shit tons of side hustles. Every day I'm hustling.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier this morning. I think that, I was a designer for 10 years. I'm a digital marketer now. And I think that we tend to think of ourselves as interior designers. And so I just want to challenge the group that's watching to start thinking of yourself as an interior design entrepreneur. If you want to go get a job for someone and work for them, which I've done before, I've worked in commercial, I've worked for ultra high-end designers who, have their name on the sign and everything. That's one way to do it, where you work as a designer, you work for someone else, and that's totally fine. However, if you have your own business, a major part of the activities that you're doing on a daily basis is marketing. And so I would encourage everyone who's watching, if you work for yourself, try to think of yourself as an interior design entrepreneur.
Yeah. Hey, I see Elizabeth saying hi to Dixie and everybody. I know that Dixie and Rachel, their theme, and Rachel just joined on too, their theme is visibility. This is your chance. Hit the little video icon, jump on here. When you do, this is broadcasting in front of Mackenzie's network. Rod called in, it was his network, Sheila's network, Alyssa's network. So the more people that call in, the more visible we are. So let's have this conversation. Join in on the conversation. People are hitting share. This is a great way for you to get. So from a business coach perspective, this is visibility. This is part of your branding too, is getting out in front of people.
Right.
Call in. We're talking about eDesign. We're talking about the different type of eDesigns. If you've had experience on Havenly, Decorist, Laurel and Wolf, they were supposed to call in. Their marketing people were all about it, but I don't know if they chickened out because of the crossfire. Sheila was brave enough to call in. I think Sheila's got an incredible platform. I
Yep.
think
I know,
calling
unscripted
in,
is risky, you know?
yeah, it is. But if you don't got nothing to hide and you feel like you've got something to offer the community,
Right.
then this is a great way to get in front of that.
Right. Just
Um,
wanted to say something real quick about Havenly and Laurel and Wolf. And I know I've been hearing a lot too from the people that are in my group. Mike, I have a client who used to work for one of the larger organizations, one of the larger eDesign companies. Listen, I think that it's good that they're out there. I think that overall, even if someone had a bad experience working for a large eDesign company like that, the result out of that experience, hopefully, was that you had that experience and you thought, I need to make this better for myself. So if you didn't have a good experience working for someone else, hopefully you thought, you know what, my process is better. I can find better clients. I can brand myself better. I can create a whole better experience for myself as an entrepreneur. I don't need this company. And so if it took working for Laurel and Wolf and having a bad experience, then I think net, that's a good thing.
right? I'm totally with you on that. That's um, again, they kind of pave the way, and this is how we learn. Stand on the shoulders of giants and dead bones.
Yeah.
Please call in. Farah, you're the one that introduced me to Sheila. I'd love to hear your experience on design files. They are the Walmart of design. Natasha, call in. Let's hear it. It's cool that you guys comment. Call in. Let's put a voice to this. This is your community. This isn't just my community. This is our community. Let's have a conversation. No makeup necessary. I didn't do mine. Let the fuck bombs drop. Fuck it. This is Facebook Live. Huh?
I said, fuck it.
We've got Heather calling in. Mackenzie, feel free to call back in. Let's get Heather on the line.
All righty.
Let
Thanks,
me
Joseph.
see. Thank you so much. Let's see. So, and Rod, I see you there. Let me add you in after Heather. I would love to get some conversation going. I know that Sheila's waiting to answer questions. Hey, Heather.
Hey.
You're live on
here.
Design Talk.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're perfect. It's the right angle and everything. Well,
there I am. Hold on.
There you
Hold
are.
on. Okay.
So let's do a little. I know you're part of Dixie and Rachel's group, right?
Actually, no, I follow them separately.
Oh, do you? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
they're big on visibility. So feel free to, if you could, do a little intro on yourself, and then let's hear what your thoughts are on eDesign.
Okay. I'm Heather Bates. I'm an interior designer in Virginia. I'm pretty much jumped from small budgets to a huge opportunity earlier this year with a 18,000 square foot home. And
Nice.
I have looked, nothing was in the way of that. It was kind of weird. It just went boom. Anyway, I have looked at eDesign. In fact, I even looked into Laurel and Wolf and their response, because of the thing with Home Depot, where you could sort of start to get into that with them. And they emailed back, great, first backing up, the site said, we aren't taking any more people. I don't know why my finger's in front of the phone. Anyway, it's a good, whoop!
It's live. It's
okay.
It's live. If you have a kitten and you wanted the kitten to walk by, that would be fine too.
Yeah. So basically, oh God, I'm all over the place here.
So you looked into Laurel and Wolf, and what was your so did you end up with an eDesign company?
No, I didn't. I didn't
And
because,
then why not?
Well, Photoshop. They wanted me to put a board up that would look like oleo board, but much, much, much bigger.
Okay.
I don't have those tools. My new assistant is my daughter. She has the tools previously, but not currently update, and I didn't really have the time to farm that out. I have looked at Windsor Smith's Design in a Box, I think she calls it. She charges a whopping amount of money for her stuff.
I think if Sheila calls back in, some of the stuff that I pulled from design files was that it has that built in. So you can create your mood boards, and you can even create 3D mood boards. So you can do like room plans. So that was pretty interesting. So if the reason was you didn't have Photoshop and you're not a graphic designer, and that would have required you to learn all that, then what I found interesting, and again, I'm not paid by, I barely have started looking into design files. You guys figure it out, and maybe we have a follow-up call. But one of the things that I saw was that it had that as part of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I'm already diversifying with Leslie Carruthers' e-publication. That's coming on board. I signed up for Amazon Associates because really, even eDesign would be great to position yourself because, like you said, income streams now are very important. And as we as interior designers, well, to put it bluntly, today Unity Marketing said 26-year-olds are the new people to market to. And they're not marketing in normal ways. So we have to be found in different venues and prepare for the move online. Although I still know that we're very valuable when it comes to things like, for people who don't know how to put together a design. So there still will be that, but I think eDesign is definitely something you can do, but I really feel like you have to have somebody else on your team that's assigned to deal with that.
So are you, and I'll jump over to Rod after this. Are you for eDesign, against eDesign, or are you one of those people that needs a phone call from eDesign and you got some questions?
I think I'm actually for it, honestly, as an extra addition to the website or social media marketing.
Hey, eDesign companies, Heather needs a phone call. She's right there. She's right there. Fellow designers, reach out to Heather and pull her in one direction or another, but get her involved. If you don't mind, Heather, I'm going to jump over to Rod. He's been waiting for a little bit, and thank you so much for calling. We're going to be doing this each week. It's an ongoing conversation for the design industry, so please feel free to call in. This is a call-in program. Rod, I'm adding you in right now. Sheila, please call back in. It sounds like, we've got a few more things to talk about. I'd love to learn more about your platform. Rod, I'm inviting you in right now. Everybody watching, hey, Rod, feel free to hit the video button to join in on the call. This is a live call-in program. My camera is not overheating this time. Thank you, Rod, for the airplane mode and connecting to Wi-Fi idea. This is you guys. You guys call in. This is your voice. Hey, Rod, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. Not enough sleep. That's what it is. I was up in Concord, California, trying to beat Joseph at the conferences yesterday. And I just got back late. So, yeah, bad hair day. So I'm going with the no-toll road path. But little plug for the no-toll road effort in South County. But no, I wanted to commend Mackenzie on the interior designer entrepreneurs, even like design entrepreneurs, really. I thought that was really kind of very important, and she's bringing a decade worth of experience prior to going into digital marketing, so that's awesome. The idea of eDesign, I think it's unavoidable, to be honest. Again, the old adage of garbage in, garbage out, still applies. So I think there's going to be a lot of room in there as far as being competitive based on quality for all designers. And I think if you look at it as an extension of what you currently do, is just another layer of service to your clients, or being able to reach clients that that are not that either correctly or incorrectly feel perceive that they cannot afford the service, right? Because they're all looking for that advice. Even if it's just they're standing in front of two vases and they can't figure out which one they want or something like that. So there's going to be a component of that where people want an affordable service, high level of expertise, and they're willing to pay an element for it. Call it almost, you could almost consider eDesign as an entry drug, if you will, because people who basically may try that may then move on to more full services, and it gives you a way to connect with them. The one thing I would like to see us cover today, and maybe it's just too soon on this topic, maybe it's another conversation, but there's an aspect to this that is liability, right? When you're personally there and you're basically recommending stuff and you're basically guiding the project and doing all of this stuff, there are times when you can adjust. Mackenzie says gateway drug, spot on. That's
because they're talking about catching their
Mackenzie.
comments, and they're talking about how eDesign is an entry point for the consumer. So as designers, I hear where you're going, and let's get calls in and talk. Let's dig into the weeds. Is eDesign, so you send off a design and shit goes wrong?
Right.
Is that my fault? Who's gonna? Yeah. And these are emerging technologies, so we don't necessarily have that button down yet. Let's have that conversation.
But I mean, that's a serious conversation, right? If you're recommending, let's say, I don't know, for small purchase, let's say $2,500 to $1,000 worth of purchasing. Again, if it's an apartment, let's say somebody just asked you to do a living room and they just spent $1,000 and they just put paint on the wall. And if somebody basically then has a problem with that piece of furniture, you don't physically see it. You're not going to, in some cases, you may be sourcing it from, competitive online stores versus just, and somebody just said disclosures and agreements. Yeah, but disclosures and agreements at a certain point, anybody who's read through them, it could be a deterrent to somebody hiring you. At some point, you got to kind of commit and take the risk. So how do you cover this?
And as much as that's there, it's still, you still got a customer. So shit didn't fit, and now I spent my money. Am I going to get my money back? Are you going to? The company's going to take that as a return, and are you going to replace it? So these are things. Sheila's calling back in, and Natasha's calling in. Sheila would be a good answer for that. Let's get some feedback from her.
Thanks,
Natasha. Yeah, definitely, Rod. So let's keep that conversation going. Natasha, let me get back to you. Let me add Sheila in. She can talk about that in particular, how she handles when an order comes in wrong and that sort of thing. Sheila, I'm adding you in right now. So, hey, Sheila.
Hello.
Glad to have you back. So Rod asked the question, what happens when an e-designer does a design? Let's say furnishings didn't fit, it wasn't what they thought. How does that work on fixing those problems? There's an element of customer service that for the lay person like me, I'm not an e-designer. Who's responsible? How does that get fixed?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, these are real concerns when you are dealing with eDesign, because if you're dealing with a client that's across the country, it's not like you have that easy access to them to sort things out as quickly as possible. So the major thing first off is that when you're starting an eDesign project with a client, you want to ensure that you are getting correct measurements from your client for the space. And a lot of designers, when they're doing their eDesign packages, they have these questionnaires that are set up to collect specific room details, project details from their client, including the measurements. And that can also get tricky because maybe your client doesn't know how to properly measure out a space for you, so you don't know if you're getting the correct measurements. So some of the designers that we work with on design files, they have specific details for how they want those measurements taken from the space. And they'll actually map it out and say, okay, we're going to do the measurements for wall A. We're going to do the measurements for wall B. We're going to do the measurements for wall C. And everything's completely mapped out that way. That can help.
I will jump in real quick and say, hey, people, hit the share button. Sheila's sharing really good information about eDesign and mapping out spaces and taking dimensions. Rod had asked the question, what happens if products don't work and I've got to return this stuff? So hit the share button because this is good info to share with everybody. So
Right.
go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So these are some of the things that you really want to kind of take care of as a designer. You want to make sure that your client understands how they're supposed to map out the space for you so that they can give you the most accurate information. And from that, you can then pick the appropriate items that would fit within those spaces. Now, when it comes to, and also make sure that you're asking your client to measure out the width of the door, because the stuff has to get through the doorway for it to work in the space. So definitely do that.
Good point.
Also, well, just off the top of my head, some other things that you might want to keep in mind if you are an e-designer. Is this room that you're decorating on the second or third floor? Are you going up staircases? Are you going around corners? All those kind of little details. You can have those conversations with your client. You should be having those conversations with your client. You do it if it was a regular client anyway. Your e-design client's no different.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying too is eDesign does take a different mentality. As a designer, I can go walk a site, and I'm from commercial design, so I walk a site and where it's dirt. I then walk a site when we've got concrete slab going. I go walk a site when we're just bare minimum, and then it starts building. And quite honestly, sometimes you get done with when the project's like fully built out, you're like, oh wow, this is that's what it actually looked like. As an e-designer, you don't necessarily have that benefit of going and walking the site. So there's things that you have to visually consider based off of your experience as a designer being on site at several different locations, like with a door, spiral staircase, is there a bend in the staircase, ease of access, that you might have taken for granted as an on-site designer. So
yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
And the more you go back and forth with your client with these details, the more confident and comfortable they're going to feel working with you too, because you are addressing these concerns. You're bringing them out right away so they can kind of figure out how everything is going to work. Now, if there are situations,
I'll ask a question, and maybe your site doesn't have it yet, but have you worked with designers to maybe even put together some of that so it helps them ease the transition?
Yeah, we actually have a built-in design questionnaire on design files. So what happens is you can direct your potential client right into your design files account. The first thing they have to do is fill out the design questionnaire, and it collects everything from dimensions to budgets, to budget limits, to preferred paint colors, preferred styles. It has an area where you can upload images of your space. So your client can upload pictures of their space. They can take pictures of each of the walls. They can also upload inspiration images. What's that?
Dixie was just asking that. Ask good questions, get tons of photos. That really helps. It's great that your platform has a method for communicating that.
Absolutely. And it's not just uploading pictures of the client's space. It's also giving them the ability to upload inspiration images. So maybe they found some things online, they love the look, they just want you to get as close as possible to that look. It gives you at least something to go off of, a good bouncing off point. We also have a spot on the forum where you can add a link to like a Pinterest board, because let's face it, designers and clients alike, everybody's obsessed with Pinterest and other sites like it. So if your client has already created a whole Pinterest board and it's got tons of inspiration for the space that they want your help with, then they can add that and you can use that as a reference point through the whole design consultation. And aside from that, you also there's a questionnaire, just a mini one that kind of breaks down who that client is, how they're living in the space, and who's living with them. So you know how many people are in the household, are there kids, are there pets, is it supposed to be relaxed or formal, do they entertain much, do they rent their own? All of these things are built into the design questionnaire. And then when your client fills that out, they request a job from you on design files, and you have the details that you need to decide if you want to take this job on or if it's not the job for you. And if it's not, you can let it go.
I always thought of this, Liza just messaged in, and I don't know if you're familiar with MyDoma, but how does MyDoma and how does Design Files compare? And I know Sarah, and I know that MyDoma is a workflow management program. It's not an eDesign program. It is workflow, and it's also a passive income stream by setting up your own online store and reselling rooms. So it's not eDesign like yours is eDesign. Theirs is, almost like a way for you to be your own mini Wayfair. So,
right.
you
Right,
go
and
ahead and do the comparison.
that right there is the difference between us. Design Files is really more a case where it's set up for designers to manage their client projects under one platform. So they can source products, they can build out digital designs, they can invite their clients in to discuss the looks and go over all the design elements. You can send out branded presentations that include full tear sheets and all the product details to your clients. And it's really there to just kind of help you manage each of your design projects that you have on the go. So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but those are kind of the key elements.
I think they're totally different. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is for essentially, and for those of you that maybe missed it at the beginning, Design Files is almost like a white label eDesign. You pay a monthly subscription in order to get this branded, hosted site that lets you create your own eDesign company. Sheila's not trying to pigeonhole you into a price point. You set your own price point. You build your own eDesign company. It's yours. You own it. I would say it's a good add-on and very complementary to your interior design business.
That's exactly it.
Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly it. So if you've got your interior design business up and running and you're looking to create another revenue stream for yourself and you want to give eDesign a go, then you can sign up for a Design Files account. We give you your own branded eDesign platform. Everything's branded to your business. We remove any reference of Design Files, so there's no confusion for your client. You set your own rates. You set your own project terms. Everything you earn is 100% yours. It's literally set up just for designers to just have their own eDesign business and have full control over it.
I'm loving that. If you don't mind, I'm going to bounce you off. Please call back in. I've got Natasha. She's been waiting on hold for a bit.
Okay.
And then let's get some more questions from her.
Okay.
I love your feedback and I love your platform so far. So let's keep talking about it. Let me get
Okay.
Natasha on.
Sounds great.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Let's see.
Okay, Natasha, I know you've been waiting for a little bit. I'm adding you in right now. And in the meantime, this is a live call-in. We've been hovering around 30, 40 people online with us right now watching. So please call in, hit the little video chat button, call in. This is a live call-in talk show. This is about you. This isn't about me, so we should hear less Joe talking, more you guys talking. We are talking about eDesign. We've got Sheila from Design Files on with us. Hey, Natasha.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Can you do a little plug about your business and
Sure.
then your thoughts and feedback either from Sheila or about eDesign in general and whether or not you've had eDesign experience?
Sure. So,
Oh, and also, people, go ahead and in the comments add your website URL. We're getting live in front of thousands of people. Share your URL in the comments. Okay, sorry, Natasha. Go ahead.
interrupting me right away, man.
Ah.
Hey, everyone. I'm Natasha from Natasha Jones Interiors, and I have been doing a little bit of the eDesign. I got a little lucky, and my first eDesign client was an electrical engineer, so he did all the CAD drawings and everything for me. So it made it easier to have all the right measurements and everything. So that was really my first experience, and I do love it, and I love that we as a community have that as an option. However, again, talking about what we tried talking about last time before your phone got overheated. I came in too hot, I think, last time. But
it's too much hotness for my phone.
Is this so? Again, it's amazing what Sheila is doing and what all of us designers are doing, being more available to clients that are not necessarily right next door to us. They're somewhere else. Maybe our aesthetic is more similar to someone that lives in California, and we're a Wisconsin girl like I am. So that part is awesome. However, the companies that are representing eDesign right now, I don't believe are representing it well because they are undervaluing what we're doing. For me, eDesign or regular design, I have to spend the same amount of hours doing it. So how can I charge $500 for an eDesign room when it literally takes me 30, 40, 50 hours to complete a good design? So that's the way that I would like to see conversation going. I want to hear from maybe someone that's used, that has been a client of eDesign, and some designers talking about how can you afford to do it that way?
Yeah. I hear that all the time from designers. I've heard it from design celebrities that are on Decorist and Havenly and Laurel and Wolf.
You love celebrities. They're just more experienced designers.
Well, no, so they have a different one. So these eDesign companies want to partner with them, and what I've heard from them is they use their name and then they sell it cheaper to a designer. So I was just on one of the eDesign platforms, and they're advertising starting packages at less than $100. So you even said 500, and that's freaking ridiculous, you know? But 100?
I mean, it looked great. It looked professional. It looked awesome. But then when you look at those details, it's like, how can anyone do that?
Yeah, well, and we heard earlier that we've got different examples of doing it themselves. We've got Sheila, who's got this white label program, so that you get the benefit of all the tools in her tech, but then you're free to charge your own pricing. Decorist and Havenly were supposed to call in, and I would love to hear their feedback. They're not here right now. I would love to hear how they validate the fact that they're pre-setting pricing for people. This would be a good time for them to call in if they're listening.
I would love to hear that as well, just to see how they are justifying those prices and those. I like using the word prices, just the value that we're selling to people.
But they do. They literally have a price on it that, for less than $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but where's the money in it for me then? So
yeah.
So what was your have you been with an eDesign company before or no?
No, I have been approached by Lauren L. Wolf. However you pronounce that. My accent comes out when I'm a little nervous, but
you don't seem nervous. I not at all. Not at all.
I've been approached by them. They saw my Instagram and thought that I would be a good designer for them, and I thought it was intriguing. I thought it was pretty cool. Until again, I dug a little deeper and talked to some other designers and realized. Hold
on, Nick May said that he tried an eDesign service and hated it. Nick, call in. I want to hear that.
Get off so other people can call in, but I would love to hear from Sheila about how's the furniture sourced for on her platform.
Okay, Sheila, if you heard that, Natasha wants to know about sourcing, and if I understand that right, you can source your own furnishings. They also have a database of I have another call right now, but I'll come back. Okay, so hopefully we'll hear back from Nick in a little bit. Sheila, Natasha was asking about sourcing. As I understand it, you can source on your own, and they also have a database of within. And then, we just started talking, but me and her are talking about how we could.
I can't swear. I have to be so professional.
Oh, you can't swear? I'll do all the swearing for you. I'll do all the bullshit, cussing, F-bombs, shit, crap for you. So there you go. Now you don't have to.
Cool.
Uh,
So other people can call, but thanks for letting me kind of chat with you about this. I want to hear everybody. I want to hear their opinions. I think, again, it's an amazing thing for us to be able to do this, but we have to make sure that us as independent designers are the face of it and not the companies. The other companies. Yours is fine, Sheila.
So people call in. Nick apparently is jumping on another call. I want to. It'd be awesome to hear from Nick. Farah, call in. Anybody who's had experience with Laurel and Wolf, Decorist. Hey, Decorist and Laurel and Wolf, I called you this morning. Call in. Let's hear. Huh?
I say we want to hear from them.
Yeah, right. Like, answer some questions. We've got questions. So feel free to call in. Thank you, Natasha. People, feel free to call in. Hit the share button. Add your URL into the comments. We've got 32 people online right now watching. Every time somebody joins the call, it's expanding this network. We're going to hit thousands of people watching this. This is a good opportunity to. Oh, we got Rachel calling in. Yeah, my peeps. So Rachel's calling in. Hit the share button. Share. Sharing's caring. Call in. Join the call. Have fun with it. This is your spot to hear your voice, to share your voice. What, Rachel?
Hey! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was just doing an airport run, and I was like listening on the way. I was stuck in traffic, and I was like, I gotta get on this call before it ends. This is so awesome.
Yeah, right. This whole thing's crazy. My staged environment. I don't feel like adulting today.
Sponsored by Walmart.
And Design and Style. Sponsored with love. Sponsored with love.
Always. So I wanted to talk because so one of the things I actually am known for is eDesign. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Rachel's known for a lot of things.
Hey now, keep it on the DL. Keep it on the DL. But one of my record is I've done 13 spaces in one home. It's actually how I started doing my design when I was still working in finance. I was side hustling as an e-designer. Hola, Adam's on from Australia.
Oh wow.
So eDesign is I love eDesign. I still offer it. It's not something that I do a lot still, but I think it's a great. I have worked on some of the platforms. I wanted to compare my process to their process because you have to be able to validate why my price is a lot more. I mean, like I charge about $1,600 for an average space versus I don't know what some of them are, a couple hundred or whatever. But my process is very one-on-one. Still, I use not only do I use professional deliverables through the MyDoma platform, but I also use video a lot. So for my clients tell me that they feel like that we are working one-on-one. We are just not in the same state or city. And if I have local clients that are more focused on affordability, I will do a hybrid where I actually go and do the initial consultation in their home, but everything else, all the rest of the deliverables are digital.
Interesting. So if I'm hearing that right, now in your eDesign experience, were you still doing mostly designs for people still locally then, or did it not matter?
Okay, so most of mine, funnily, because what happens is the more you do, it's like your referrals come from a certain area. So I live in San Diego, California.
What? We didn't know that.
My eDesign base is in Tucson, Arizona, funnily enough. It just like they kept referring each other, and so I have a big pool of clients there.
so big that I ended up traveling to Tucson to actually shoot my projects because I could hit so many clients in one go.
Interesting. That's a thing I guess I hadn't thought about was, there's still word of mouth in that.
Yeah.
What did you get a chance to listen to Sheila and her design files?
Just on the last bit where she popped on. It sounds awesome. I haven't heard of design files, but I love what I'm hearing so far. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I've only heard of Laurel and Wolf, Decorist, and Havenly, and I know that they made big waves. And Heather from Havenly's been on the news. This is emerging technology. It's awesome. But from the designer side of it, I've heard a lot of kind of feedback of, hey, they're pre-selling you.
Mm-hmm.
And as a designer, you end up working for minimum wage doing that, and that's not very fun.
Less than sometimes.
Yeah, so Sheila's what caught my attention right away was it's a white label. I think it was like $14.99. I won't get into price. Very cheap per month. It was this white label that you could set your own pricing, and it's your own thing.
And brand your own studio. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I don't see why you would need to do that, but if you create your own, I don't see what the need would be, because I have my own website. I use my Doma. Dixie and I are working on a course actually called Platforms and Profits using eDesign. I don't see why you would need to use a platform, but it sounds like an awesome platform for somebody that doesn't feel strong enough to build their own. Yeah.
Martina was talking about I feel like a raver with my little earpiece on. I don't know if you can see my.
It looks like a Walmart rollback.
We are sponsored. by Walmart. Unless somebody else wants to sponsor it by staged environment, sponsored by Walmart.
Anyway, that's my experience. I think that designers, I think it's okay to be on some of these little platforms. I mean, they're bigger platforms, but earning a little bit. I don't think it's a bad idea to it's kind of like I did when I first got on. I was like, well, it's on the job training. I'm learning the process. I'm learning the tools. You do not need Photoshop to do it. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. I don't know why people think they need to. I used to use PowerPoint. I use Keynote now on my Mac. You don't need to do I can do all you're doing is working with perspective. You don't need Photoshop to do that. So
I'm gonna mention real quickly that Sarah is on right now. Sarah, if you'd like to join in, we were talking earlier about, and I know you may not know of design files. Sheila's waiting also, but there was a little comparison earlier. So what's the difference between MyDoma and design files, or what's the difference between MyDoma and eDesign? So Sarah, if you wanted to join on, there's a little camera icon, and this would be a great way to talk about MyDoma as well.
Yeah.
Just to put this whole thing in perspective, Dezign Talk is an ongoing conversation with the design community about the design industry. So this is you guys, and I don't know what next week's topic's going to be. So something that comes from this may lead to Sarah, call in anyhow. We'll just cover the screen.
The poor MyDoma team has been so sick this week. Poor things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Adam's asking why I stopped eDesign. Adam, I haven't stopped eDesign. It's just I'm not promoting it as much. I was doing it as I started with eDesign because I had a 9-to-5 job. So that's why I was doing it so much in the beginning. But once I built my local base, I don't need to do it. I actually prefer to do the hands-on design better. So I still offer it. I'm doing it more as a hybrid, more than just straight eDesign.
I just got the reminder that this is supposed to be an hour-long episode. My phone's not overheating, and we have 37 people. Yeah, no, it's actually working pretty good today. we've got 37 people on right now. If you guys want to keep the conversation kind of like we did last time, 5 more minutes, feel free to keep calling in. If we got people calling in, this is you guys, so let's have a conversation.
Right.
But Sarah, nobody cares if you're hacking up along. I know you may be afraid of branding, but nobody's gonna knock you for it. In fact, I think we'll love you even more for it.
And just so people know, I mean, MyDoma is a platform to do the deliverables. A lot of people think it's an eDesign platform, but I use it for all of my projects, my local projects, and for digital deliverables. You know, I think one of the things about pricing is you need to be able to deliver deliverables that look professional. Otherwise, you know, you have to go through someone. You know, when I first started, I was cobbling together things like sending multiple emails because the files were too big, and I was texting and I was emailing. Once I got the platform, I felt so much more confident about what I was delivering, and was able to totally put my prices up to like normal design prices.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in kind of this new age. I'm an emerging technology. I sat on a panel with Jason Harris from TDN and Furnitureland South.
My
Emerging
podcast
technologies.
sponsor, by the way.
Yeah, plug. And the fact is we're all introducing these new things, and as much as we'd love for it all to be in one spot, it's not right now,
Right.
and it may not ever be. And Sarah was talking about the difference between MyDoma. Please call in.
Call in.
Just cover the camera and call in.
She can do audio.
Yeah. So you don't have to be on the visual. We don't need to see you lying in bed with your bag full of tissue. But
I just up her nose.
Yeah. So about MyDoma. So you know, there's a lot of emerging technologies. There's different apps. Use them. I use different apps that are not even industry related, so that I can put together graphics that I send out. All the Giphy stuff, and man, it's all on your phone right now. 20 years ago, you didn't have this shit. You had to go hand draw. We've got so many cool tools now.
I hardly even crack open my laptop, to be honest. I mean, so much of my marketing is done on my phone. I call myself a mobile marketer. It's just awesome. It's really awesome to be a designer today. Is there anybody else that wants to come on? Do you want to kick me off?
Yeah. Well, no, we've got Rod, and then anybody else want to call in? Let's hit share.
Tanya Phillips is on here too. Tanya is she needs to get on here in lieu of Sarah Daniele if Sarah can't get on here. She does all the support. I've done webinars.
Sarah's asking. Sarah, just hit the little icon.
I'm gonna pop off. Bye.
Okay, Sarah, and then who was it you said? Tanya
Phillips.
Okay, Tanya, call in. Let's look. Love it, hate it. Had experience with it. Didn't have experience with it because you didn't like something. You've got questions. I know the call was supposed to go for an hour. It's now 9:15, 9:16. Your guys is, if we're having the conversation, we've got 35 people that are actively on right now. Hit the share button. Hit the add your website into the comments. Join online. You can join the conversation. Just to let you kind of know what happens when you guys join online. Rachel was just on. So when she joined, it started going, Facebook started letting her network know that she's on too. So by the time we're done with this call, we'll have reached thousands of people. And so this is great for your online visibility. This is great for you to put your website in there and get in front of a lot of people. And this is your voice, people. Sarah, you have to hit the little icon, and then then when you do that, then I can invite you in. So you have to hit the little camera icon. And Tanya, feel free to hit the icon too. You have to do it from your mobile phone. It doesn't work from, I don't think it works from your laptop. So if you guys are on, everybody else, hit the share button if you want to join in on the call. This is great visibility. It's your voice. Phone, and Rachel says the phone has to be horizontal as well. So feel free to join in. Let's hear your comments, your feedback, your experience. And then this is an ongoing conversation. So next week, I don't know what the topic's going to be. I'm going to reread through this and rewatch the video, and then we'll figure out what the topic is for next week. This is an ongoing conversation with the design community about the design industry. And my wish and hope is that us as a community, we can start. Oh, we got Sarah calling in. Yeah. Okay. So Sarah's joining in. This is for you guys. We shouldn't be at the mercy of the industry telling us what colors and what things we should be selling our customers. We're the boots on the ground. We're the people that should be telling the industry. Hey, Sarah. I got you on here. Woo!
I'm dying slowly.
Oh,
hold on.
Yeah, Rachel was saying you guys got a bug going around, huh?
Yeah. And why am I only seeing part of my face?
It's a split screen, so it's not quite centered.
Better, not better. I can't even see me at all, which is odd.
You know, I don't know which way it goes, but a little further to, we got like half of your face.
I know.
It's a good half, but it's half.
Let's just go with that.
There's a little bit more now, so yeah.
How about that? Better?
That's perfect.
Is it? Yeah. Are you sure?
We got a whole face and we got some collarbone going on, and a high back chair.
Okay, that'll work. You only got me for a couple of minutes. I have to like hold my phone, and my arm is sore because I'm sick.
Oh, so. Okay. Well, we got a lot of people. We got 35 people on right now. Because everybody calls in, it adds to the network. So there's going to be thousands of people who have watched this. My Doma. What? Share.
You're gonna make me pitch. Thanks, Joseph.
No, pitch. I love you anyhow. But for people that don't know, this is a good opportunity to get to know you.
Thanks,
and
Joseph.
Sarah's calling in sick, so sign up. Poor Sarah.
Oh, Joseph. Okay, so anybody who's interested in my Doma, you absolutely can visit our website, get a lot more information, a little bit more clarity, but I'll give you the quick pitch. So it's an all-in-one platform for interior designers to manage their projects and collaborate with clients, key project stakeholders. There are some other great platforms out there as well. The difference is that we basically allow you to have your own branded online studio. So you can put in your own company logo, your tagline, your work, and then you invite your clients into your studio where you will upload their project files, contracts, and messages. We're containing the entire design process into one platform, putting the designer back in control, allowing them to be more profitable by allowing them to set gates. So, you know, they can basically communicate with their clients back and forth.
How does My Doma compare to or work with eDesign platforms?
So with like the Laurel and Wolfs and the Havenleys, with them.
So
it doesn't.
People are wondering because people are going, well, is My Doma an eDesign platform? Is what people were asking.
So honestly, when we first started it, that was part of what we wanted it to be, was specifically to do eDesign only. But what we learned very quickly is that eDesign is great to get the conversation started. And there are some you can do some projects from start to finish through eDesign, but it's not just eDesign anymore. It's basically, it allows you to do, whether it's just eDesign, not just eDesign, whether it's an eDesign project or a full service project. It actually allows you to do everything, but on your own terms. So we have no control over what you set as the pricing. You choose the pricing. You choose the timelines. You do everything yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not, yeah.
And then another feature that you guys offer is the creating shoppable stores, right?
That's right. Yeah, so we give you the ability to create, we call it productizing your service. So you can create design packages, and these could be curated rooms based off of previous work that you've done, where you can then create a shopping list of products. So those can be to your trade only, or they could be to affiliate links. So allowing you to create, basically take a design and resell it over and over again. But you can also create design packages that are basically, whether they're a consultation or maybe it's a full service design, you can productize anything as a service, set a price to it, use it to capture a new client and start working with them.
Yeah, yeah. So for you guys watching, again, we're in this amazing space right now. Sarah, Sheila's calling back in. Jason's got Furnitureland South. You've got Designer Inc. You've got all these other emerging technologies. And Sarah, you were an interior designer, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I was for many years. And basically built my Doma as a need for my own business. So it came out of, I wasn't making enough money because I wasn't streamlining my process. And I found that scaling my interior design business would be quite difficult because you have to keep taking on more projects, and then you'd have to hire to do the work, or you'd be working weekends or late nights. Yeah, so it's originally built for me. And then pivoted
and what I love
learned.
and go ahead. Sorry about that. You pivoted when you learned?
I was just going to say, I pivoted the idea when I learned actually that other interior designers were suffering the same problems as me. And it came through, if you're familiar with the interior design community, at the time we were doing a lot of work online with Google Plus, and it was meeting my peers, and they were struggling with the same issues I was. I said, well, why don't we switch this? Why don't we pivot it? Why don't we make my Doma available to other interior designers and help them grow their businesses?
Yeah, and so these emerging technologies that are coming up, almost every CEO of these different companies that I've talked with, we come from this space. I come from custom manufacturing, so Design Wall is very for the ability to sell your products, custom, and we're all coming from this space. We're us trying to solve different problems in this industry. And so I love Sarah. I love Heather from Designer Inc. Heather from Havenly. We're all, man, this isn't the easy route. This is so much headache. I don't know if scaling my Doma became less of a headache than growing your own interior design business. I would say on my end, this is not the easy path. Thank you, Sarah, for not taking the easy path. I think we all benefit from your willingness to swim against the flow. So this is not the easy path.
Thanks, Joseph. It's silly, but I think I'm really a problem solver at heart. Like I just, I see something and I want to fix it. I'm a fixer, right? And it's so rewarding, right? Every time a designer, like I look at Rachel and specifically how she's grown her business. She's been with us since we were in beta, and watching her, just the way she's excelled, that makes it worth it. It really does. Like every day, you're like, look at these businesses growing, right? And that makes me and my team want to work harder and build the features.
Quite honestly, I can totally relate to that, in that getting out, and that's kind of what keeps me going, is when I meet with people and you're like, oh man, they actually value this stuff and it's helping them, and that's the part that kind of keeps me moving forward. We do have Nick May calling in, and he has experience with eDesign. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna switch over to Nick, and I'll let you get back to you and your team getting better and healthy.
Thank you. I'm building up a serious cough here. So
yeah, no. Let it go off camera. All right, so thank you so much. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
All right, Nick, we're adding you in. And for everybody that's watching, We still got we got 30 people watching right now. This is being shared all over. You can call in. I know we're half an hour over the hour time slot, but feel free to call in. Hit the share button. Add your company's URL website to the comments so that you can get some marketing plug too. Hey, Nick, how's it going, man?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Well, you know what? So today's not super passionate. I thought like today was going to people going, I hate eDesign. Oh, I love eDesign.
Right.
Not a lot of F-bombs. Not a lot of. It was actually pretty muted, pretty chill.
Do I need to add to the F-bomb count?
Dude, add some color.
Fucking
did you fucking hate eDesign, or did you fucking love it?
Well, I thought it was, I didn't think I was going to have time to be on here, but I popped on Facebook, and of course you're always online, so I saw that what you were doing, and then I thought, well, there's no way I have anything to contribute to this conversation, and then somebody said something about, maybe you said it, I don't know, maybe to have an opinion from somebody who's actually used eDesign, and I'm guessing that everybody on here is a designer that's actually trying to offer this service, but I thought maybe a perspective from somebody who actually tried to do an eDesign project from a consumer standpoint. I thought maybe, I don't know, maybe some value add there. I don't know.
Yeah. No, all of it, all different angles. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to bring up, I have changed computers multiple times, and so I was actually trying to find an email from the company that I signed up for and used. And really, I did it from the perspective of trying to understand it, because I'd interviewed so many designers that were offering it, but I wasn't really hearing anything from other people that had used it or whatnot. And so I actually signed up, and I want to say I paid a fee of like $475 or something like that to have an eDesign done. I had a room in my house. It's a family room. It's like, I don't know, maybe 18.
Oh, so I didn't get that. So you were a homeowner that hired
Yes, I have a house.
eDesign service. No, but I wasn't catching that. I thought that's awesome. Okay, so this is an entirely different perspective.
Different
so
side of it, right? I have a family room that's quite large. It's like 18 by 25 feet with it peaks out at like 22 feet.
Party at Nick's place.
I know, right? So,
unless it was a crappy eDesign and then no party at Nick's place.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So we signed up.
Oh man!
And it was one of these bigger companies that utilizes different designers all over the country, right? So they connected me with somebody. I don't even know if they were in Denver or not. But then, so I drew out my family room, I took pictures of it, and I sent it in, and then I get this crappy little design board that says you should use this stuff. And I'm like, huh? Like, how is that helpful? Like, I could have done that going to House or something like that. And I think I could have pursued it a little bit more, but I was so put off by how hard it was to communicate with them. Like, I would send an email off and I wouldn't hear back from anybody for like 2 days. And then they would say, well, you're going to hear back from your designer. And I'm like, what?
When?
So I think that in order to do eDesign well, the challenges are you've got to make it personal, right? And how do you do that from 1,000 miles away or whatever? I mean, you could be 10 miles away. I don't know. But if you're not showing up at that house, you've got to figure out a way to understand their design aesthetic, where they're trying to go, and the space that they're living in and what they're trying to create. So how do you as an eDesign person communicate to me as a homeowner that you get me and that this is the stuff that I should be putting in the space? Now, Rachel just says video. I love that. So whatever somebody can do with video, I think is great. And I would say, do something like Facebook Live, like have a conversation with somebody. You could, it doesn't have to be a long conversation, but if they're, I don't like, well, you could use Skype, but the point is, Alice, is that you've got it on mobile. And so I can be in my space and I can show them the problems that I know that I have in that space and what I'm trying to solve. And then
it's if you can't physically be there, we've got a lot of technology that person shouldn't have. And how long ago was this that you signed up for this service?
I want to say it was like a little over a year ago. So that's
Okay, I was going to try to give the platform a benefit of the doubt and say, oh, maybe this happened years ago. We've had this technology, and yeah, I mean, I don't know the platform. I don't know if they helped the designer do that, or if this was, you paid the $400 and the designer got like $5 out of the deal. I don't know what the profit share was on that.
I don't know
heard designers say that they get a project in. They might start working on it when they're not busy, and then suddenly they get a flood of work, and now Nick May is not on their radar because they've got a real client to talk to, and then they start getting all the little warnings saying, hey, you haven't responded, but it's just a text message. And so it's an annoying message saying that you haven't finished your project with Nick. But there's kind of a hands-offness to it. Now, had that person had a FaceTime or a live chat with you, then maybe it would have put things into perspective. I like Rachel's idea. Just jump on the phone.
What, her idea of hiring her?
Well, there was that too.
That's just giving me a hard time. I know. I don't even know if I knew Rachel back. I don't know. I probably did. It was. The other thing I would say is do some kind of case studies. Like I didn't understand, but when I went into it, I didn't understand really what I was expected to do very much. I didn't know how the process was going to go. I just felt let down, I guess, a lot on the whole process, and so I just walked away from it. I was like, I got too much other crap going on. I don't need to even deal with this.
So let me understand that you find this eDesign platform, you put some input into it, and they give you the price. It was like $400 and something bucks. You paid that. Didn't you got a kind of a mood board? And said, here, go find these things. Do they not deliver it? Do they not ship it? This is now just a grocery list for you to go find. So at the end of it, did you get your money back? Were you able to, like, what came of it? Did you just lose $400?
I just lost $400.
Man.
I chalked it up as a business expense, and the podcast paid for it. And I just said, you know what? I would never do eDesign
IRS
again.
is not listening to this one. They did not listen to that one.
No, why? I mean, this is more reason why I got to write it off, because now I'm sharing this information with designers that are it's a legit expense. Like I didn't buy stuff for my house, but
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, so for eDesigners, you're listening to this. For the eDesign platforms, you're listening to this. I would have loved to have Havenly call in, Decorist. I did talk to them last week.
Havenly's here in Denver, right? Isn't Havenly here?
Yeah, Heather, I was chatting with. I'd love for them to and I got to assume some of this is growing pains. They started out with this great idea. They wanted to job out work to designers so that they could work from home. Was it perfect? Did we all start out our business at the very beginning perfectly? No. It was well-intentioned. I don't know where it's evolved to from now, now. Listening to Sheila talk about her business, this white label process, it sounds like she's, maybe, considered a lot more things. I think that your input was, probably input we don't hear from a lot of people. So that was, I'd say, great input.
Well, good conversation. Thanks for having it.
Yeah, no, I think this whole platform, you messaged me and said, what are our future topics? And I don't consider this a future topic thing. I consider this an ongoing conversation. I don't even know what next week's topic's going to be from this, but an ongoing conversation with the design community about our industry. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that as a community, we should be letting the industry know the things that are important to us, because we're the boots on the ground. We're the people you're on podcast, you're dealing with customers, you're dealing with, and we've got a lot of info to share, but I don't know that's necessarily being shared with the industry.
You know, Joseph, just a topic to consider, and this is something that I've been kind of mulling over and trying to figure out, is this something that I present at a market or something in the future? But I see that there's a huge discrepancy and a huge void between designers and the manufacturers or the people trying to sell furniture. Like, I don't think the manufacturers, the people trying to sell the furniture, the bakers, the forehands, like, I just don't feel like there's a great conversation happening between them and designers. Would you agree to that?
I totally agree with it, but I think that at some point we've lost our voice. Now, I've sat there because I'm not either. I'm not the manufacturer, and
right.
I'm not. I don't sell anything. Yeah. And I've sat there listening to, in real time. I watched a manufacturer, the owner of a big company, talk to a designer. That designer came up, and when the manufacturer showed him their new product, the designer said, "I love it. This is amazing. It's beautiful. Yada yada yada." Turn around. They walk out of the showroom. Oh, that was shit. It was crap. I'll never buy that. That manufacturer is just getting fed a lot of fluffy bullshit.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Tell the manufacturer, no, I wouldn't put this in my kids' freaking closet, you know? Like, it's just not my thing. It might, you know, but why the bullshit, people?
Right. I have a funny story on that.
Crap.
So Barry Livingstone, my friend Barry, you know Barry, you got to meet Barry.
Yeah.
So he was at market this last time, and he was hanging out. Did you do the panel with him at Avison?
No.
But you know,
I think that was Ian. But
that was Ian. That's right. Ian was there. And so evidently, Barry was talking to the owner of Avison, didn't know it was the owner of Avison. And he's like, "So what do you think about our furniture?" And he's like, "It's too big. It's too boxy. Like, it wouldn't sell. Like, I would do this completely different." And then the guy introduced himself, and he's like, "Oh." Yeah. But then the guy was awesome. And he's like, "I'd love to have a conversation with you. And if you could help us figure some of this stuff out, because obviously you know what our market wants." And so that was starting a conversation. But I think you're right. I think people are feeding these companies like kind of just what they think they need to hear, and it's not happening. I just got off the phone 20 minutes ago or whatever with a major manufacturer of furniture. And
I'm going to throw a quick plug in there real quick. And for people that are listening to this, if you guys are the ones that aren't speaking up is easy. Hit the share button. This will let manufacturers, other designers know that this conversation is being had. And maybe, you know, you don't have the guts to tell the manufacturer these things that we're talking about, but it's a real thing. So hit the share button. That will help contribute to the conversation. So go ahead, Nick. Sorry about that.
So they were, I was talking to their marketing person, and I was asking her if they listened to podcasts and if they, understood, what the designers are going through. And she was telling me that the president doesn't listen to podcasts and that he hasn't had those conversations. And so we were trying to figure out what's the best way to get him to listen to the podcast so that they could understand how, what does it take for a designer to run their business? And so I just don't think that conversation is really happening. I mean, I go into so many showrooms, right? And they've got these new people there. And I always ask, "So did you come from the interior design world?" They're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, how are you educating yourself? How do you understand what they're going through and why they should pick your stuff over somebody else's?" And I think there's a big opportunity for manufacturers. And I'm starting to work with Universal a little bit, and we did a lot with them at the last market. And I really feel like they are listening, and they're really trying to create, programs, and not only programs, but furniture that designers want to use on their projects. So it really, some are listening, some are not.
And again, that's why kind of my motivation in this ongoing conversation is giving voice back to the community. It is about the boots on the ground. It is about the designers. The manufacturers, hey, if left alone, then they'll dictate, because at the end of the day, these manufacturers and out at market, I talked to one that very flat out said, "Hey, we throw parties and we do this stuff. It's all about the bottom line for them. That chair, it could be fabulous. They could give two shits. Is it gonna sell? Did they make it for the least amount of money possible? Is it perceived as high end and they can sell it for the most amount of money possible? And at the end of the day, are they not getting stuck wholesaling the item? These guys are dollars and cents. And if you think that it's not, you're wrong. They are selling product. At the end of the day, they're not just making beautiful things. Designers are there to put things together and create that composition. But the manufacturer, I'm going to create a thing. Does it sell? And that's it. And can I get the most amount of money for it? Yeah. So without our input, if we just keep saying everything's fabulous and beautiful, then they're not really getting our input. We can kind of cut the bullshit. I think it'll get us further. You know? Yeah.
Well, I kind of derailed your conversation on eDesign, so sorry about that. But I'm sure you've got other folks that want to jump in.
Yeah, anybody else want to call in? We are at an hour and 45 minutes, so I don't know if I'll give this 5 more minutes. If you guys want to call in, call in. We were talking about eDesign. We're kind of now talking about the community and the influence that the community could have on manufacturing and products in our industry. That might be the conversation that we pick up on next week. But anybody want to call in? You've had eDesign experience. You've worked with, if Decorist and Havenly are listening, call in. We'd love to hear from you. Hit the little video icon button and join in on the call. We'll give this one 5 more minutes. If you guys, want to call in, let's keep the conversation going. We still got, we've had a consistent 31 to 40 people on here this whole time, which is crazy. You guys have nothing better to do? Go to work. What are you doing?
Yeah, in fact,
I have all this time.
In fact, I do have to go to work. I have a staff meeting right now that I'm probably holding up. But
I can hear them in the background.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Joe.
All right, Nick.
Always good to chat with you. Good to see everybody online, and we'll talk to you soon.
Definitely. If anybody, I'll give us 5 more minutes. It's 9:45 West Coast time. If anybody wants to jump in on the call, we're talking about eDesign, whether you've had experience as an eDesigner, you're an eDesign platform, you're a customer of eDesign, feel free to call in. When you do, this is going live in front of not only my network, but also now Nick's and Sarah's and Rachel's. And so this is a great way to reach a lot of people. And this is our design community, people. This is us, this creative group of people. We've had a person on here was from Australia. So this is our global design community having a conversation. I do know from the last few episodes, I've gotten calls from manufacturers letting me know, hey, they like this because it gives them both sides of the coin. So this is our spot, people. This is us, our design peeps globally having a conversation that people are listening to. So we got 4 more minutes. If you guys want to join in, feel free to join in, and we'll see where the call takes us. This is an ongoing conversation, so feel free to join in and yap. I mean, it did go an hour and 45 already. So be sure to hit the share button. Be sure to hashtag sharing is caring. Susan, thank you. Sharing is caring. It literally is. On social media, hitting the heart button is very passive. It does nothing. Hitting the share button says, you know what, I found something that I want to share with my network that I thought was valuable. If you got your friends and family on there as well, I'd suggest create a personal profile and create a business profile and share through your business profile this business stuff. You may not want to inundate your mom with all of our design stuff. But this is for us. So feel free to call in, hit the share button. This is great visibility. Add your URL. A quick plug for Design Wall. That's kind of what we're doing. We got Rod calling in. Let me add Rod in. Design Wall is a social platform designed for us. It's for the design industry. We're working on a live program as well for next year. Hey, Rod, how's it going, man?
Dude, you're not good for productivity.
Oh, no? But, yeah, I can't believe people have stuck around for this whole thing.
That's all right. That's all right. I've been drafting and doing Photoshop while I've been listening. Great show, buddy. Again, and very important conversations. I'm glad you're having them. Just a thought, just because some people may be local, you may want to do an occasional quarterly get-together locally or wherever you may be.
You know what? I am doing a bunch of different panel discussions, and so I would love to do that. I'm talking with a couple other people about doing even like a Shark Tank for design. We've got a lot of different stuff we're working on.
Joe talks instead of TED Talks.
I prefer not to hear myself. I prefer to hear you guys call in. You guys are.
I think that horse has left the barn, buddy. It's too late for that
man.
One. You're not putting the genie back in the bottle. I hate to break it to you, but I think it's too late. But listen, I just wanted to say, great show, man. Have a great day. Nice to see everybody. Great input from everybody. I thought Nick's input as a user was spot on, because there's so much more to this than just the provision of the technical knowledge base. That if you're going to take on the e-platform, which I hadn't really thought about, it's a different way of having to establish your rapport with that client, and you may have to work really harder at the beginning to establish that and differentiate yourself, which we don't usually maybe are aware of, because when we're there in person, we're just automatically in that mode. But if you're doing it eDesign, you almost have to like figure out, how am I going to construct that communication? How often am I going to communicate? How accessible I'm going to be? Because again, the expectation is 24/7, especially across timelines. So do you really want to open that can of worm on yourself? That was a lot of good input there. So I appreciate Nick weighing in on that. And I just wanted to say again, kudos, man. These are really great talks.
Yeah, for Nick's input, that feedback wasn't necessarily something you would read in a review. I don't know that I would have gotten that from a review. And then half the time, Nick wasn't pissed about it. He just understood that, it happened. He gave it a shot. It wasn't the result. He ate the cost. He didn't go on and bitch about it. And because you look at these reviews sometimes and you're like, it was just a person bitching. The only people that write a review are the people that are, kind of fucking a little loony anyhow, So
yeah, but
Nick
what? I don't know. I don't know. I know we live in that world, and we're like, Yelp, and people basically get paid to write bad reviews and stuff like that. But I always use a benchmark. You tell me one person on the planet, okay, that you say, hey, to the point of the person who basically said, oh, wonderful furniture, and then walked out and said, I hate that, I'll never use it, right? Who do you ever ask to give you an opinion? And basically will say, you know what? Actually, I have nothing to add to the conversation. It's fully covered. Everybody has a friggin', like what they say about opinions, right? Are like, what, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's even worse. It's like elbows. Everybody has two of them, not just one of them, right? And so everybody's going to give you an opinion, positive or negative. We should be looking at those as basically opportunities to learn. I always review Yelp reviews for businesses that we put in, whether it's restaurants or spas or whatever, and I review them for years. I'm constantly reviewing my clients' Yelps to see what the feedback is, and I will share this with everybody. Those are awesome sources for testimonials, because some of the feedback may actually be in reference to the work that we have done, and it may be in a way that the spaces are being experienced that we didn't even think of. So there's learning for us there too. So I'm gonna just log off here, man. Great show.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in, Sheila. If you wanted to call in to help wrap up, anybody else? at 9:52 right now. I think I'll call it quits in 8 minutes. So if anybody wanted to jump in last minute, we've got Jason watching. I think next week we're going to kind of maybe let's dive into the topic next week of that transparency with manufacturers. Let's cut the bullshit with them. I think Jason would love some true feedback so that he could actually grow his business, get rid of those barriers. So maybe as a community of designers and specifiers and designers, we're not being as transparent as we could be with the manufacturers and with our industry partners. And I'll tell you, I spent an entire year before I even launched Design Wall just getting feedback. And I started the conversation with, hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. I'm going to share an idea with you and poke holes in it. If a week from now and 3 months from now, you think this is why this is a shitty idea, save me the time. We've got Sheila calling in. She was with Design Files. I'm inviting her in, and we'll wrap up with Sheila. I think it'll be a good way to kind of wrap up the eDesign conversation. Oh, we got Rachel calling in too. Hey, Sheila.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to call back in and say thanks so much for having me on. This was a great conversation and lots of great insight from tons of people. So it's just kind of good to have this conversation.
Did you hear Nick?
Yes,
I
did.
Nick's side of it?
Yes, I did.
I thought that was good feedback.
It's great feedback, and it kind of I'm sure that kind of situation happens more than we think, really. So if anything, it's great learning lessons for any designers who are planning on offering up eDesign, and just kind of keeping in mind that you're not just selling design boards and a shopping list of product. People want to hire a designer that makes them feel confident that they can get this thing set up in their own house, that the design is actually going to turn out the way the designer had intended it to turn out, and that the designer is actually listening and always available to answer any questions they have. So if you are offering eDesign services, you should consider adding in those added perks into your packages. Maybe you're setting aside a set number of hours or a set amount of time for phone conversations or videos, or we have designers who offer up how-to lists, which is great. It's a complete how-to list for how to put that whole space together once the products have been delivered to your space. And that could include kind of like guides that show you, here's how you hang a light fixture at the right height. Here's how you hang artwork at the right height. Here's how you anchor your products on a rug so that the room is actually put together as it should be. And those are fine little details that designers know about, but the average consumer doesn't know about that. So just giving them the guidance that they need to really walk through that process, it makes a world of difference.
So can I ask you, I'm a tech company, right? Mm-hmm. And my team for the last few years have asked why I go out to trade shows and this sort of thing. And honestly, when I go out to trade shows, I'm floating ideas. I'm getting feedback. I'd rather that I went out to wherever, talked directly with people, and found out that my idea was a shitty idea, or that I think I might be onto something, save me the time, or compel me to move forward.
Right.
So for everybody watching and whoever watches again, I just was introduced to Sheila and Design Files. I don't know your product completely. I will share that from your website, I didn't understand, reading through the website, I didn't quite understand that it was a white label eDesign platform.
Okay.
So how are you as a digital platform tech company? How are you interacting with your customers, or your would-be customers, or your people, your peeps, for feedback, so that you're building the best product possible?
With Design Files, what we do have is a live chat option on our site. So any designers can contact any member of our team and get answers for how to use the platform. And we encourage our designers like crazy to send in their feedback, suggestions, what's working on the platform for you, what's not working on the platform for you, what do you need out of it? And we keep collecting all of that input, and we start building out the features based on the request of designers. So I think the last 10 major updates that we made to the platform, That's all been based on designer input and what they need from the platform.
Awesome.
Sorry,
Awesome.
my phone is running short on battery, so hopefully I don't cut out here. But that is really what we're doing. So everything comes back to us from just designer feedback, whether it's the retailers that are on the site. We ask our designers, which retailers do you want on the site? We'll go get them. And if you don't want to use the retailers that we have on the site, then you can build up your own library with your preferred vendors and use that. Any of the features, really. Everything comes down to what does a designer need, how are they using the platform, and where is it failing them? And we make changes based on that.
Okay, awesome. So I don't know about you guys. We got 19 people on right now, and I'm thinking what I'm pulling from this, and you can tell me as a platform builder and as a company yourself. I'm going to float this one by you, and then I'll run it by some people this week. But I'm thinking that the next conversation that we have next week is about that transparency with these companies. Are we as builders, as we service companies, platform builders, or are we reaching out to our audience enough? And as the designer audience, as the community, are we being transparent enough with these manufacturers and the companies that we're interacting with? It's real easy to bitch when something goes wrong. It's also pretty easy to praise lavishly without any kind of responsibility. But are we working together to make this all work for all of us? I know with me and Design Wall, I'm trying to solve. I had an idea. I think that there was a pain in the industry, and I'm trying to solve it. There's times where people will tell me that they love my site, they love it, love it, and I'll look at my database and go, well, they're not even on my platform.
Right.
So well, then what stopped you from joining? Oh, I didn't know if I needed to put my company name. That was it. Well, let me work on that. Like, give me something so that I can work on this, because I think I've got something that's going to help the industry. But if I'm tripping on the smallest thing, I've got a typo on the, and that's what kicked you out. Like, yeah. So, are we as a community being transparent with these manufacturers and these emerging technologies so that we have a fighting chance and we can serve the community better? And I think that just talking with you, I think you're passionate about that. You'd like to serve this community. And then I think in talking with you, you're really open to feedback. I know that I am. I've met Jason.
It's the only way. It's the only way to grow your platforms. If you are not taking the feedback and you don't understand who's using the platform and what they need from it, you're failing at the gate. You have to be open. You have to listen to them. And then you just build according to that.
Yeah, I think that might be the topic next week, is that transparency topic.
Right.
So,
that's a great topic.
We'll see how that one goes. So, well, thank you for being on. I can't believe we went 2 hours. That was crazy. And we still have 15 people watching. So, wow. Thank you guys for listening. Again, this is an ongoing conversation with the design community about our industry. This is you guys. Call in, participate. If you don't, then the industry is missing out on your feedback. You just heard Sheila say, this is what we build our businesses on. Jason Harris was on earlier, Nick May. This is us. We're in it together, people. Let's do this thing together. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to PM me and message me. Let me know what's on your guys' mind, how we can make this thing just popped up, this Design Talks. This is your guys' platform. Thank you for letting me even be a part of it. So thank you guys. Thank you, Sheila.
All right. Thanks for having me. It was great.
All right. Thank you, guys. Hit share, and sharing is caring. Have a good one, guys.